Or that should be what budget statements are focused on.
Gareth Hughes.
Kia ora, Mr Speaker. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou kia ora. It's quite interesting. I can't remember the last time I followed both Jacinda Ardern and Jamie Lee Ross. It's great to see the three, I think one of the youngest members of Parliament, all taking a call on this budget debate, because the budgetary and fiscal issues, social issues, environmental issues facing our country are pressing enormous challenges facing us. Mr Speaker, in this debate tonight I'm reflecting on the differences. Sure, there's asset sales and deep sea drilling, but also, what unites us. And I believe every member in this House and every party in this Parliament wants to see a richer New Zealand. They want to see those kids out of poverty. They, in a country that exports food that feeds 20 million people, I'm sure we can all agree kids shouldn't be going to school hungry. We all, grew up camping on the beach and swimming in rivers. We all love and, I believe, want to protect our environment. We also want to see Kiwis in jobs. We've all seen experiences of chronic joblessness. Mr Speaker, I believe there are a lot of things that unite us in this Parliament. It's a question, however, on the plan. Where is the plan to deliver those outcomes we can all agree on? And I think what is clear when you read the budget documents is we're absolutely unsustainable. I do mean in an environmental sense, a sustainability sense, but also I mean in a fiscal sense. The debt outlook facing our country is huge. At the moment, our current account deficit at 3.6% is the second largest in the OECD, just behind Turkey. It's absolutely unsustainable for us to carry this much international debt. And the only recourse for a small country like ours is to keep selling off the assets, to keep selling off productive assets like farmland. It's time to take control back. This budget paints a very dark picture in terms of debt, the cost of living, inflation, but also the simplification of our economy, reliance on only a few raw commodity exports. What we also know from the budget documents is that this country is borrowing $1.1 billion a year to pay for those tax cuts. Mr Speaker, as someone of above average income in this country and benefited from those tax cuts, you've seriously got to question the wisdom when the country, paid for by everyone, paid for by previous generations who have had their assets sold off, are paying for those tax cuts for the wealthy. We're seeing debt spiral out of control. We're seeing an economy increasingly reliant. We're seeing our tradable sector fall behind the tradable sector. What we're seeing is the real income earners at the national level, the exporters, actually struggling versus the non-tradable sector. What we're seeing is the cost of living increase. Mr Speaker, for a country that's working its hardest, so many New Zealanders are working 2 jobs, they're working 60 hours a week. Mr Speaker, this is a country where the costs of living are amongst the highest. We work some of the longest hours for some of the lowest wages in the OECD, and that's why our households are struggling in debt. When you look at the inflation announcement we're expected tomorrow, what we're seeing is rampant house price and energy price rises leading to inflation. We see housing up 44% in the last 5 years, electricity prices up 20% in the last 5 years, and an unknown story I think the public should be more aware about is the drivers of that leading to inflation, which will bring a real cost to New Zealanders. So it's about choice, because we all want to see Kiwis in work, swimmable rivers, kids out of poverty, but it's about choice. Who's going to focus on that? Who's going to prioritise that? Because, Mr Speaker, to be frank, what I see from this side of the House is a government that's focusing on the choruses, the Tiwais, the Anadakos, not the real people that live in real streets and real Kiwi businesses, the small and medium enterprises doing it hard in the current environment. What we need is a fiscal balance with a capital gains tax, broader capital market, broader mandate for the Reserve Bank. We need a strengthened Kiwi Bank. We need to embrace the opportunities in clean energy where we know there are 4 times more jobs. We need to support our thriving IT sector. And today we've seen a massive plank in the government's economic agenda fall out entirely. It was them pouring literally tens of millions of dollars of taxpayers' money down Anadarko's deep sea oil well. And you know what? It looks like they didn't find anything. And you know what? It was never going to be a credible economic strategy, hoping someone foreign finds something down in the depths of the ocean and they don't leave too much of a mess. Mr Speaker, that plan to embrace the past has fallen over. It's time for New Zealand to embrace the future, to put real people, real kids and their parents first. A country which looks to the future with confidence and entrepreneurialism and innovation, embraces new sectors like clean energy and IT. That's the richer New Zealand, Mr. Speaker, the cleaner, smarter future for New Zealand, and that's what we'll be taking to the country this election. Kia ora.
Mr. Speaker.
Scott Simpson.
Mr. Speaker.